And we are live.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody.
Good to see you.
Back in the Green Dragon. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's good to see you all. So, welcome back. We've got another Smokescreen for you.
Yeah.
We did Obsession last time, and we're doing
What a film.
And what a film that was. And we're doing another horror movie. And would you call it a horror movie? It's definitely a horror movie.
I can't call it a horror movie.
But it's kind of not like a straight kind of traditional horror the way Obsession was.
In the same sense that, like, The Shining is a horror movie.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But, like, similarly, I think it's going to be a good point of comparison from the last one, Obsession, because similarly, it was directed by another young lad. He was only 20. Kane Parsons, 20 years old.
Incredible.
Another YouTuber on a small budget. So this was an A24 production with a budget of 10 mil. So still, that's 10 times
That's
plus.
nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing comparatively.
In comparison. But it's
still 10 times plus what Obsession had.
Yeah.
So more of a budget to work with, but still comparatively very small.
Yeah.
We're talking, of course, about Backrooms.
Big noise about it.
Yeah.
A lot of positive stuff being spoken about it. The numbers don't lie. It's raking it in.
Yeah, and I believe it's only second to Obsession in terms of like what it's pulling in.
Those two have gone well, so it's like, yeah, that's like the other film of this summer.
Yeah, exactly.
And another banger.
So before we get into it, let's do the. Yeah. So me, same again. I've got the blacked out Falcon, but with the Bulldog Bowl, and I'm smoking some Burley Flake again. What I'm feeling like I may repack with some Purple Cow. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Interesting. So I just want to show, because I've also got, not being a copycat tonight,
yeah.
So I'm on the Falcon as well tonight. I'm on the Falcon International. But also, I've got my my Bulldog Bowl. But look at the difference between mine and Harry's, right? But this is my second Bulldog Bowl because I lost my last one when I left it in Bristol. So this is number 2. And it's just started a little bit to colour up. But look how much more yours has coloured up from handling and from smoking through. Lovely. But I do love just how nicely, yours the same.
Yeah.
You've got lovely striations.
Yeah, the grain, yeah.
Lovely grain, lovely character in the wood. So even though they could have gone for a discount brighter, good Falcon. Like the wood is still really nice.
The wood's great, and I love the hunter balls because, like we were saying last time, they come kind of like naked. They're not so they pick up the colour, and it's nice to watch it darken up. And,
they're great. Make it yours.
Yeah. And
then in the glass tonight, we've got some Woodford Reserve. So we're on with that.
An old favourite.
It's an old favourite. It's an oldie but a goldie. So we've got. Let's drop us a chat box in. We'll get the guys on.
Now, to address the elephant in the room, I'm dressed like a pirate. And hopefully...
There is a reason for that.
Hopefully it's going to become a pirate.
That's not for nothing. There we go. That's not for nothing. So we'll...
have we got any other tobacco-related news before we get in?
Tobacco-related news? Just that we're starting to get a bit more at Mitchell's now in terms of expanding their tobacco range.
Yeah, we're seeing Cornell and Deal in there, or just autumn evening at the moment, I believe. So this is Sheffield, but I think it's a good sign, and I'm glad that Cornell and Deal is coming into the UK market. That's a good sign too. So, we'll see how that's progressing.
Yeah,
Jermaine is now a mainstay in there, which is also good. So yeah,
Jermaine's. That's great. I've still got probably a good half a tin left of, or half a jar, I should say now, of my Rich Dark Flake. Oh, what a great cracking smoke that is. We got Benny Kennesean on, smoking out the Northern Freehand. Love it.
Oh, very nice. I like those.
Love it.
I like those.
Love it. I love mine.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it to bits. One of the things I love most about the Nordin, like it fits the hand. And I've gone on about this before. In fact, I'm gonna have to pick it up and show you. It just fits the hand so well. It doesn't matter how you hold it. Ergonomically, it just works. I've got a nice big fat groove there for my thumb.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fits really nicely. If I need to choke it off, like a half choke, there's a little notch for your finger. If I need to do a full choke, because of the profile of the bowl, I can get my thumb right over. It's very, very cleverly engineered, and yet still looks really nice and natural.
And I do like the way that the shank isn't tapered.
Yeah,
like it's chunky.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. They just lean into it. Yeah, it's good. Okay. So in the glass tonight, we've got some Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
Nice little drop. What was that one I've got there? Okay. So a bit of a synopsis then, in terms of the film.
We're going to spoil it. We're going to talk about
lots of spoilers.
Yeah.
We'll try and do a bit of a deep dive.
Yeah.
Into some of the themes and sort of sub-themes, stories within stories. Keeps the smoke cool. Smoke. It does keep the smoke cool. That chunky thickness of the bowl, I always find, gives it a really
handles the heat.
It does. It does. So, Obsession. Just as a recap, we've got lots of themes on. It's very much about sort of relationships between the guy and his girl. We've got themes of responsibility and sort of actions and consequences. So Backrooms, there are maybe some parallels in terms of how it was made, but in terms of the themes that it delves into, he does it a little bit differently.
It's similar with the male leads. I think they're similar types of characters,
right?
And also, I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking about the stories of each, and the stories are fairly sparse. These are both character-driven films,
right?
They're not plot-driven films; character-driven films.
Yeah.
The structure of the stories for both of them is fairly skeletal, bare bones, I would say.
Because of that, and because they're both very like this one, maybe a little bit more in terms of effects. So you can see where some of that effects budget might have been spent. And why it was probably right that it was a bit more of a budget than Obsession. It'll have needed some of that to get some of the effects right to make it look good.
Exactly.
Because there are reasons for it.
Apparently, they built, I believe the figure was 30,000 square feet of backrooms.
Wow.
And apparently crew members were getting lost.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Sort of meta.
Yeah, exactly.
Meta, yeah. But the emphasis on this is about that the actors they can't lean on those effects.
Right.
The story is about the characters, and the narrative is driven by the actors' performances. And again, one of the similarities was that not ever so huge on dialogue. It's minimal.
It's fairly
sparse.
Yeah.
Minimum amount needed to carry the story, to carry the narrative.
And I think in this film in particular, there's a lot that is you have to pick up like contextually.
Yeah.
It's not just fed to you in exposition.
Yeah.
Like a lot of films, like particularly thinking about like Netflix produced films.
Yeah.
They kind of like it's almost like they're reiterating the plot to you like every kind of 15 minutes. Like so much like heavy exposition. There's none of that in this.
There isn't. It makes you work a little bit.
Yeah.
It treats the viewer like an adult and doesn't go down the route of it being almost like I'm hearing a lot of like second screen films.
Yeah.
Your phone being your first screen that you just keep, so like, if you've missed that bit, like we'll fill you in while you were just messaging on WhatsApp or Telegram, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like that. It demands your attention, holds your attention really well.
It does. And again, just like Obsession, I think it was very well paced.
Yeah.
You could say that there are some bits that feel a little bit slow, but I actually think that's to the film's, to the benefit of the atmosphere.
It is.
And so...
And it throws into contrast. And that's really what, just like with music, you have counterpoint and you have contrast, you have dynamics. With filmmaking, being able to have periods of quiet to throw into shade those very active and very shocking moments. That's really important, and doubly so for a horror film, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like if you highlight a whole page of text, then effectively nothing is highlighted.
Exactly.
So you need these like lulls to really make the shocks hit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying that the Backrooms itself as a setting didn't get a lot of time. And I was thinking back over it, and I think maybe that's true. Like, we don't actually spend a ton of time in the Backrooms. But how boring would it be to just watch like one guy just kind of, oh, this room's different. This room. Do you know what I mean? Like,
do we go through the Overlook Hotel and look in every room?
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
No.
It's a character within the story.
Right.
It has its own.
It functions as a character.
It functions as a character, but it supports. It's a supporting character. It's not. That's not the main story. The main story is not. Oh, it's an ancient Indian burial ground. But it interplays with the characters and the rest of the narrative.
Yeah. So, should we get into this?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So we open up where there's a guy in a hazmat suit, and it's a found footage kind of thing. He's exploring the back rooms, and he comes to an end because there is some kind of being in the back room. So,
yeah.
And then we see that he is being watched on a screen by some lab coat types, some white coat types.
Then when you see back rooms, it looks like a disused office.
Yeah.
Just an open. And if you've ever been into an office before they've done an internal fit out with all the partition walls, just a big open space with a suspended ceiling and ceiling tiles. That's all there is in essence.
Exactly. And so maybe just to take a step back, just to kind of like to fill people in on what the Backrooms is. So I think it was only in like 2019, 18, someone on 4chan posted a picture of this kind of abandoned, disused. I think it was like some kind of furniture shop or something in Oklahoma. And it's got these kind of like washed out pale yellow walls. And it's just, someone posted a picture of it, and then people began to like build a mythology around it. Like, they were saying that this is a place where you would no clip into from reality. So no clip, that's like a term in gaming where you go off the map.
Yeah.
So a video game will have like a set map, and you'll have areas that you can't explore. But sometimes by glitches you can enter into those spaces.
Yeah.
So that was the mythology that built up around it. That this was kind of like a separate realm that runs parallel to our realm.
4chan, is it all that bad? It's another story. Just asking.
And it's really interesting because it's like an organic modern mythology that sprung out. It's really interesting, and people built on it. And then this kid, Kane Parsons, he did like a 20-part YouTube series on it, and then he's ended up directing this film. So.
Incredible. We've got Gary Martin Dobbs on. What's happening, guys? We are good. Yeah, it's good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining in.
We are smoking leaf. I've got some Dreams of Kadaf on tonight.
Belly Flake.
A little bit Lovecrafty. Yeah, that's for our horror vibe. So, Backrooms. Guy goes into it, hazmat suit. He's snatched. You don't really see what snatched him.
No.
It's very cleverly shot.
Yeah.
There's no real. It's a bit like when you hear them talk about prisons. Like you can't see for very far before there's a corner, so that they can't hide anywhere basically. So it's easy to keep control. So similar with this, you've got like broken lines of sight, and this guy gets snatched, and then all of a sudden you see that it's being viewed through a CCTV camera with like an old CRT TV. Yeah. With some guys who will watch him.
Yeah. And it's set in the 90s, by the way.
In the 90s.
Anyway, then...
Early 90s, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. Good health. So to speed run through the plot, we've got two main characters. We've got a male lead and a female lead. The male lead is Clark. We find out in the course of events that he's recently separated from his wife. He is a failed architect, trained to be an architect, but it never happened for him. He's running a furniture shop, which is called Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire.
That's right.
So he's got these themes mixed up where he's a pirate.
Mixing his drinks.
He's a pirate. But also an Ottoman sultan.
Also a bit Mediterranean.
So he's kind of got those themes mixed up, and he's running this shop, and he was putting his wife through law school, and he was feeling resentful over that, and he's talking to his therapist, who is the female lead. Now she has got some Mary, that's right. She's got some childhood trauma because she grew up with a He doesn't really say, but we're going to guess like schizophrenic mother who's a hoarder, never let her out of the house. And she is Clark's therapist, and her whole thing is about breaking this repeated patterns.
Breaking through the window. I think
opening the window. She characterizes it as being in a maze. That you keep going around and around until you find the window to go through.
She's a little bit grifty. A little bit.
Yeah.
You know, she's trying to make this whole thing of self-improvement. You know, before it was a big YouTube thing, you know, guys used to sell self-help courses. It's a little bit like that.
And I think the film even points to that because there's one scene where she's watching her own commercial, and she's kind of watching it, and her face is kind of suggests that she doesn't even really her own
cringy.
Anyway, Clark, the male lead, is having some power issues at his furniture shop, in which he's sleeping because he's been kicked out of his house.
Business not doing great.
Business isn't doing great, exactly. And he's filming these commercials where he's dressed as a pirate, and and he's kind of humiliating himself, hopping around like a fake pirate. And one night, when the power is kind of going on and off, he goes down into the basement, and he sees a crack of light in the wall that shouldn't be there. And he finds that he can go through the wall into the back rooms. He informs his therapist, who is, of course, skeptical, and he says he's going to come back with proof. And then goes missing for a long time. She comes to look for him. And we can see that he's been gone missing for a while because the letters have piled up and there's flies in the furniture shop. One of the flies she sees goes through the wall, and she follows the fly into the wall. She finds Clark there, who has basically decided to live there. He decided to live there. And
even before, to just kind of pull it back slightly, when he's going through the therapy sessions, there's just a hint that he's on the absolute edge of control, that he's at the edge of really losing it.
Yeah, like she's doing this role play where she's getting him to relive kind of like the argument that broke his marriage. And you can see that his anger at his wife is really coming through at her.
She assumes his wife, and it's like he can't switch it off. To start with, he's like, oh, it's a little bit silly, and I don't really want to do it.
But then he
gets really into it. I'm angry, mother. I'm just angry but upset. I'm a grown man now. And so that this, so his therapist goes to see him, sees him in the back rooms. The other thing about the back rooms is that the director does a great job of what they call displacement. So things that you recognise, but in the wrong position. There's a little bit of this on the BioShock games. They were very good at this. So things that you recognise, but not in its correct environment, and it throws us out. It's very odd. It looks odd. Subconsciously feels odd. So you've got like chairs, but like might be halfway up the wall, sticking out at an angle. Or things that are sunk into the floor. Well, is the floor solid? Is it not solid? What's going on?
Or there's like skirting that's like halfway up the wall. And there's like alcoves and things that don't really need to be there, don't really make sense.
And the way that they support this, the director and his crew, how they support this from the production point of view, to come onto the soundtrack, is that they play with spatialization. So because of the way that our ears work, we can tell that we're in a room. We can tell that we're not outside. Even if we shut our eyes, we know we're inside because of the way that the room behaves. And so the soundtrack, very, very subtle, but for those who have been involved in a bit of sound production, you'll hear that the reverb, the rooms change weirdly. It'll act very odd. It doesn't match up with what you see on the screen. And so that also puts the audience in a really weird point of audition. It's very, very clever.
And that adds to the whole, like, you've got some Kubrickian stuff where the floor plan doesn't really add up.
It's mazy, light shining.
And anyway, we find that Clark has been living there for a while, and he chokes out Mary, and then he takes her to this like dining room. Because the back rooms is kind of this never-ending maze of like self-generating rooms. And what we find out from Clark in the dinner scene is that it spawns kind of trauma, like the trauma that you're carrying around. It will like when he comes in, he sees furniture. We've seen nautical related things related to the pirate stuff, and
it's like a cardboard cutout with the tape that keeps playing.
Yeah, and he basically tells her that he's living here, and he doesn't want to change. And she, maybe in desperation, kind of tells him, "Yeah, you don't have to change." Anyway, it's now that we see the entity that snatched the guy at the start and has been haunting the back rooms, and it's a version of Clark dressed as the pirate mascot, but like much bigger and kind of disfigured.
Yeah.
And
really grotesque.
Yeah.
Oddly tall, like disturbingly tall.
Yeah. Weird proportions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we feel like we ought to be scared, but Clark apparently has been in, dialogue with him, and they're kind of on good terms.
Yeah.
And he tells the pirate monster Clark that Mary says it's okay, we don't have to change.
Yeah.
This is when the monster turns bad, eats Clark.
Yeah.
Mary eventually escapes and is rescued by the lab coat guys.
Yeah. The guys
who have been keeping tabs on the back room.
Yeah.
And she's taken to an interrogation room, and basically she asks what's going to be done with it, and we find that we don't really know. It's not up to Mark Duplass, who plays the guy. It's not up to him.
Yeah.
And then in the final shot, we see that the Backrooms has made a copy of her at this moment in the interrogation chamber, a weird simulacrum of her.
Right. And so they say that the Backrooms is it's an anomaly. It's a spatial anomaly. The geometrics, very Lovecraftian. The geometrics don't add up somehow. They feel very weird. But that essentially this space. That there are several of them. You said there are several points to get in. That is hinted at very strongly.
It says doors are popping up.
Doors are popping up. But that it is a thing. This space itself is the thing.
It's an intelligence.
It's intelligent, and it not only is it intelligent, but it has interests. So it will only really interact with the people who it finds interesting.
Yeah. And to that point, when we see the guy at the start in the found footage, he's exploring the back rooms, and there's all these nautical things like a seagull. There's ship wheels on the wall. There's like a room that's painted as a Caribbean island scene. And this is before Clark has gone in.
Right.
So we have to assume that the room is already taking an interest in Clark.
In Clark, yeah. So there's some sort of paradoxical time stuff going on. So does it exist in outside of time? Yeah. So there's not just a three-dimensional oddity, but a fourth-dimensional oddity. So it similar to the way that the space itself behaves, like the more you kind of go around, the weirder it becomes. The more you start to sort of think about it and consider it, the more complex and odd and otherness there is to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, shall we go back through it with a bit more of a fine-tooth comb?
Let's.
So,
as it ends like that, doesn't it?
That's how it ends. So, Clark is a similar character to Bear, in the sense that he's carrying around a bit of resentment for not being able to get the things out of life that he wanted. In Clark's case, it's more that he offloads responsibility. So he's an internal victim. It's his wife, or it's the market, or it's whatever, but it's never his fault.
Yeah. And eventually Mary just has enough, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's like they have like this kind of the weird, almost like Last Supper vibes. Yeah. She just basically turns on him and says, "Shut up moaning."
Yeah.
It's everybody else's fault but yours, Clark, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about time you stood up and took responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like reality hitting him in the gut.
Yeah. And that kind of like holding on to that is his personal backrooms, that's his personal maze that he's stuck in, and that's probably why the backrooms took this interest in him and kind of like drew him into it.
Yeah.
So, Clark has got this one employee, this young girl, and she's got a boyfriend, and her boyfriend is filming the commercial.
Yeah.
And he's like hopping around as a pirate doing the accent. He's got like a fake pirate on his shoulder. He's got a fake peg leg. And he, towards the end of the thing, of the commercial, he mixes up his themes and he wants to be an Ottoman Sultan and sit on a throne.
Yeah.
But the throne breaks.
The throne breaks.
And it's humiliating. It's blood out on the floor.
Yeah.
He tells her to open up the shop, and she says, "We've been open for a while already, and no one's in."
Yeah.
And then he finds the back rooms. He tells Mary about it. She doesn't believe him. He says he'll come back with proof. And so he employs, I believe it's Kat, her name, the employee, and her boyfriend to come and explore the back rooms with him. But he gives them no information.
Yeah.
He's already aware that there's some kind of, at least seemingly dangerous entity down there. And he says nothing about it.
No.
So he sends them in like lambs to the slaughter. And once they go in, we start to see the film through the camcorder.
That's right. Yeah.
And I thought that was a really welcome change in format.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably like a 10, maybe 15 minute.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you watched Kill Bill?
Yeah.
And it changes to the anime style.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's different. Or for me, it was maybe like Natural Born Killers, because Stone plays with a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Changes format, 16, 8mm, black and white, grainy footage, very clean.
Yeah, that was a weird film.
It's weird, but it hits home. It's like it really stands out. So you've got contrast.
Yeah.
Just with the format in which the video is produced, like the visuals.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, back in, what was it, 99 when Blair Witch came out?
Yeah.
That was really kind of like popularized that format, and it did it so well.
Okay.
But then we got like a lot of fan footage, and I think it really outstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
But I think Backrooms utilized it in such a way that it didn't outstay its welcome, and it was effective.
Yeah.
And just offering another perspective and the different kind of like scares and tension that you can build with that format.
Because you almost personally assume the eye of the character, of the narrator at that point.
And like one particular thing that format afforded was there's this, towards the end of the fan footage segment, there's a bit where Clark puts the camera down.
Yes.
And then the entity, well, we don't know who's picking up the camera, but something picks up the camera, and the camera raises to much higher than a normal human would. So
great spot, man.
Yeah. So you're wondering like who's got it, who's holding it, what is it?
Spot. We've got Bourbon Neophyte on.
Oh, Anthony.
Great to have you on. Cheers, fella. We're just supping some Woodford Reserve, just a nice standard. We got.
Oh yes, July 4th tomorrow.
250th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, many years to our brothers in stateside. To your
cob filled with.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to smoke straight Virginia, a cob is how you're going to do it.
That's the move.
And that's very American of you.
It is, and I'll tell you what. This red coat, this colonial brother. Let me tell you.
God bless.
Let me tell you, it's Virginia season here. I am getting really into my Virginias.
Yeah, it's such a summery smoke.
Yeah,
the hay and the grass and the citrus.
Yeah,
and
well,
especially if it's stoved as well, bring out the sweetness.
Just going to say that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like having it aged, get it in the jar. I've been heading back into like Navy cut. Capstan, and man, it's because it's been jarred for ages. So sweet, all that bitterness, all that sharpness.
It just mellows right out.
Yeah.
And so I was saying that a few weeks back I went to Gareth Hogarth, couldn't go in, but one of the lady that worked there, she gave me some full Virginia flake that had been stoved, like pre-stoved, and it was very sweet, very mellow.
Delicious.
Yeah,
so good. Underrated.
Enjoying a drama. Ooh.
Mr. Quinlivan, good to see you. Oh, a bowl of Mick McQuaid, Savinelli dry system.
Oh, interesting. How does the Savvy dry system work? Is it working? I've never tried it. I've never tried the Peterson.
Is that similar to the?
I'm not. I think it's more like the Peterson system. I'm not 100% sure how it works. I've never tried it myself. Blend was unintentional, just what I grabbed. Sometimes they're the best ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes they're the best ones.
It's cob weather as well.
It definitely is cob weather.
You can't go wrong with a cob.
Yeah.
Cob and a Virginia-based smoke. Oh,
I just want to be out there, some dungarees with no shirt and a cob.
Reed.
Yeah.
Pipe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Down the Missouri.
Straw hat.
That's it.
That's what. Yeah. That's where I want to be.
That's the move.
And you know what I've been craving in this weather also? Some Perique.
Yeah.
Like some Cajun
spice,
cake. Like a sweet, spicy Perique.
Yeah. Cabbies. a little bit of cabbage, maybe.
A little bit of cabbage.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love my Burley Flake, I do feel that it lends itself more to autumn, winter half of the year.
Yeah.
It's more of a robust, earthy kind of smoke.
It's like a bowl of stew.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I feel like this kind of weather, it does lend itself more to those sweet Virginias. Hurry.
It's like a Greek salad.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, mercy.
Go for it. So, love the system pipe. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to. So you just use a 6mm balsa. Yeah. Well, as it happens, so even though this is a Falcon, so you've got the humidome and the dry ring inside, this also takes a 6mm balsa filter, and man, I'll tell you what, they're just great. That cob I picked up, the new one, that's also a 6mm balsa.
The Mark Twain.
Mark Twain one, yeah, and man, it's great. Yeah, I'm kind of almost turned around on the subject of a filter because I've kind of pied them off, but yeah, I'm sold at least on these two.
I do like the balsa filters.
Balsa good.
I think they perform pretty well most of the time. 9 times out of 10, they perform pretty well.
Well, if you're struggling with your draw, you can always just cut a groove in it.
That's true.
That's the beauty of it. It's so soft.
The main thing for me is when they get a little bit soggy.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they're there for anyway. You can swap them out. I mean, what I ended up doing was going to Hobbycraft and just getting a load of balsa.
Yeah.
And just chopping my own down.
Yeah, that's the move. That's the move. Smash that like, smash that like button.
Like you're a smash like.
That's it. Subscribe. All helps the algorithm.
Comment.
What's it Dag says? Please give a like. It helps the algorithm. So we got the guys who've gone in. So his employees have gone in. They've got snatched out. But the Backrooms is, in essence, it's sentient, feeds on people's almost I want to say traumas, but like I guess it is traumas in a way. Traumas in the true sense of the words, in dream. They're buried sort of subconscious thoughts. Yeah. And that one of the things that struck me, and it really, you kind of see them a little bit, they're revealed a little bit throughout the course of the film, almost a little bit sort of jump scary, but you really kind of get to see them at the Last Supper scene, if you like. These distorted oddities that are people, or have been people, but are all like they're twisted. Rendered wrong. It looks wrong. Yeah, it's like rendered's a great way of putting it. It's like your computer's had a guess. Yeah, it's like AI's had a guess at what it looks like, but it's got it all wrong. It's made a mess of it, and it just looks terrible. Yeah, and what makes it even more like a kind of twisted Last Supper is that they actually eat these people. Yeah. So he's got a guy sat at the table who he's not even sure who it is, but he says there must be some version of this guy out there in the real world, and he's been rendered in here. Because one of them was his wife, I think, wasn't it? What it looks like his wife. One of them is implied to be his wife. She runs away when the monster clock shows up. He scalps her. Yeah. And he puts the scalp on Mary and makes her do the role play again. Yeah. Like this weird sort of inversion of the therapy session. So in terms of sort of thematically then, if we can kind of delve a little bit into the themes. So we touched on that he struggles with accepting responsibility for some of his shortcomings. But one of the things that I picked up on, in fact we both picked up on it when we watched, was that he struggles to sort of interact without any sense of what's the best way of describing it? That he has difficulty with reconciling reality, and instead of being able to just sort of focus on one thing. Example, he wanted to be an architect, but because it didn't happen, the reality was, well, then he's going to have to go and do something else. But he could have really stuck at it. Yeah, there were ways in which he could have done that, but he felt like he had to give up on it, and so it was somebody else's fault. Right. But his reality then was, well, you're not an architect anymore. You're a furniture salesman. Yeah. But instead of making a success of that, all he really wants to be is an architect. But he doesn't have the courage of his convictions to really see that through. It's easier in his aspect to make an half-arsed job of being a furniture salesman and then wish he was still an architect.
Yeah.
And so when he goes into the back rooms, it's like there's a look of almost glee on his face when he's like, she says, I don't have to change. Yeah. I can just do what I want. I can just stay here. I don't have to leave. It's easier for him to escape into this literal fantasy realm than it is to think, I'm not going back in there again. I've got work to do. Yeah. I want to be an architect. Why didn't he come out of it and think, well, that was an amazing experience. Why don't I try and design some spaces? Because you still seem to doodle and draw again.
Exactly. He's doing the floor plan.
That's right. Yeah. So why doesn't he then go back into architecture? You can't blame his missus anymore because she's gone.
Yeah.
So go and do it. But he doesn't want to do that. He says he wants to do it, but he doesn't really have the courage of his conviction to see it through. Yeah. It's an easy out.
Exactly, and that's his personal story, and I think a lot of us are guilty of that to some extent. Yeah. That we make these stories up we're the protagonist and there's villains and there's reasons why we never did this. Yeah. But that becomes his personal maze. He's going to be forever lost in that story until he finds his window. And he tells her when he decides to go into the back rooms that he's found his window. So he considers this his escape.
Right. That's right. Perversely.
Yeah.
What she was trying to get him to do was to leave his other back rooms, his real life, that he'd kind of, this doldrum that he'd found himself in, to kind of break through that. But instead of doing that, he almost kind of doubles down and gets given an option of an easy out and takes the easy out.
But what we see from Mary is that she is not necessarily taking her own advice.
Right.
She is frequently having these dreams, these nightmares where she's back as a child with her mother. And her mother is like a hoarder and won't let her leave the house. And the house is the set is dressed in such a way that it kind of resembles the back room.
It looks like it.
It's kind of maze-like, it's coloured.
And then the back room starts to replicate her traumas.
Yeah.
And so it finds her interesting as well.
Yeah. And we see this one scene where she before they enter the back room, she's at this party or gathering, and there is a mother and daughter sat at the table, and there's a woman talking to her, but she is fixated on the mother and daughter who appear to have a loving relationship, and she's staring at that she's got her own maze that she's stuck in.
And what I found interesting was that when she kind of carries herself as a typical kind of
professional put together woman,
but also in very very quietly spoken, very calm,
level-headed,
until she's had enough of him griping and grousing, and she's obviously under an immense amount of stress in this situation. She's scared, and she switches it off, and she starts laying into him. But really, was it Jung who said we never really talk about anybody else but ourselves?
Yeah,
she's having a go at him for being a cop out and a wuss. Really, she's shouting at herself.
Right. And what we see at the beginning of the film is that she has gone back to her childhood home, which is being demolished to build these high-rise apartments, and she sees her handprint in the concrete that she made when she was a kid
with her mum.
And she takes that and she puts it she carries it around in a pocket. She puts it on the desk. Now later in the film, when she is attacked by the clock monster, she pulls that out and bashes the monster in the face with the concrete until it smashes.
Yeah.
And it's a very kind of on-the-nose metaphor for she's done with the trauma.
Yeah.
But for Clark, the back rooms was his undoing. That was where he could sink into the maze.
Yeah.
And surrender to it.
Yeah.
Whereas for her descent, her catabasis into the back rooms was her ascension.
Yes.
Because she was able to let go of this rock of her trauma and break it on the monster and escape.
So whilst we're talking about sort of catabasis and sort of Lovecraftian themes a little bit, sort of cosmic horror and body horror and all those kind of things, and it's got all of that in spades. Right? There are things like weird non-Euclidean geometry, but that you notice that when he has to go down into the basement to go and go and tackle this thing. A maze, like the labyrinth. It's very labyrinthine. You mentioned to me before we went to watch the film. You said, "Oh, it leans a little bit on Theseus."
Yeah.
This thing's very sort of Minotaur-like.
Yeah.
It's a human hybrid. It's got elements of humanity to it, but it's not human.
It's stuck in this maze.
It's not bound by morality. It's got a kernel of humanity to it, but it's very animalistic. But you also picked up. You made a great point about it, like Saturn.
Yeah, it resembles the Goya of Kronos or Saturn eating his sons.
Yeah.
When the pirate Clark picks up Clark and takes a bite out of him. The pose, the way that it's physically set out resembles the painting.
It looks just like, even where he bites him.
Yeah,
right, it looks very similar.
And I was just theorizing that, like for Kronos to be eating his children, to eat your children is like your extension. That's kind of like your potential put out into the world.
Yeah.
So to eat your son would be to squander your own potential, which is what Clark has done.
Which is what he does.
Because we can see, if you took a crack at the architect, like he clearly kind of knows his stuff.
Yeah.
He can do these floor plans and he's into it. If he'd put in the effort, if he'd put himself out, if he'd made the sacrifices, could he have had success in his field? I think that's hinted at, but he chose not to. He wanted to stay in his maze.
And it ruined him. So it was clearly the choice that he made was the wrong choice. But you made the point on the night, and you said, well, it can't be about Saturn because Saturn eats his children. And I said to you, well, yeah, but is the creature his dad or his child? Because it predates Clark's move into Captain Clark. So there's some interplay with that. It's a little bit paradoxical. Which came first? How could it know what Clark was going to become?
Yeah.
But I once you said about the Saturn thing, I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah. And I think, like, to lean on the Theseus stuff, so like a quick run of the Theseus stuff, King Minos, he's got this monster human bull hybrid that he has a labyrinth built for to keep underground. Yeah. And 7 young men and 7 young women are sacrificed each year. Theseus volunteers to be one of the young men. Yeah. The Princess Ariadne takes a liking to him and gives him the string and the sword to find his way back and to kill the monster. Right. So could Mary have been the Ariadne figure, but he refused the sword and he refused the string? Yes. He didn't want to come back out.
Well, he does and he doesn't. He ties the string to the young lad.
Well, that's true, yeah.
He sends down. He makes somebody else do that. Yeah. So again, it's ceding responsibility. To somebody else. So he lacks the courage to go and do that. So the whole thing about Catabasis is it was for glory. Yeah. And they couldn't. They were. I mean, he's the same. Oh, I can't not see. And that's the thing with the Lovecraftian stuff. Like, I have to see what's in it. I have to see. You have to know. Yeah. But he has to know, but he sends somebody else out to do it. And ultimately, there is no glory for him because it's not him. It'd be an equivalent would be he makes friends with the Minotaur and thinks, well, sorry, I'm not going back up there. I'll just stop here. This is easier. And the Minotaur just ruins him. Yeah. So it's almost like a kind of an inversion of the story of Theseus in terms of the ending, at least. That there is no glory for him. He's refused the opportunity, spurned the opportunity for glory, like he did with carrying out his dream to be an architect. It was just an easy choice to, I'll get a shop.
Yeah. Or like making his marriage work. Like, yeah. He's got an alcohol problem, so he's like, rather than being at home, he's working long days, and he's going to get hammered, and then he's coming home at like gone midnight. Yeah. So.
Which is what triggers him. Yeah. On that particular evening, it's what comes out when he's in the therapy session. But there's so all this stuff that they kind of use the visuals to portray, like the non-Euclideanism and the like body horror stuff. I think it's just so well done. So well done. These weird, deformed. It almost reminded me a little bit of in a very different way, but of the Hellraiser story. It's like it's another realm. It's a different realm, and it's like its interpretation of what these twisted versions of humanity, these like parodies of humanity, and what it finds interesting isn't the good stuff that Clark does; it's all the negative stuff, and it feeds on it, and then tries to kind of replicate it in its own way.
Which again, now you say it, a lot like the Overlook.
Like Overlook, yeah. You never really can tell what's going on behind some of these. What you're going to find around the next corner.
Yeah.
What's it found interesting next? Which is why I think this could really run and run and run in terms of like this could be like its own mythos. When I think of like the Cthulhu mythos and like it's a story told of the same thing, but from lots of different perspectives and different people's experience of the entity. Could we see like a whole genre, a whole sort of mythos built up around the Backrooms?
I think so.
Another story. Somebody else takes the story on and experiences something similarly.
I think so, and that's already taken off to a degree online.
Yeah.
But in the scope of King Parsons' particular mythos, I think that there's so much room for this to expand. I mean, we know that Mary is still alive.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with Mary? We know that there's I can't remember what the Async. We know that Async is this corporation, whatever, that's experimenting there, trying to find out
who are they.
Yeah.
What's their motivation?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't know yet. Don't know yet. There's a lot that's kind of left hanging open. But just in general, as a piece of filmmaking, so we came out of this like it's Kubrickian. It's so well made. It's so well made. The photography is beautiful, like Kubrick. At times, any still from any of that photography could be a piece of art in its own right. It's so beautifully shot. Like with Kubrick, lots of different, like all of the aspects of filmmaking, set design, costume, the way that he kind of plays on his haphazard pirate outfit.
Yeah.
The outfits that even the young lad wears. Is it Alive?
End Apartheid.
End Apartheid. That's it. Like a very sort of like end of 80s, early 90s
Bob
kind of like. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I got. Like soundtrack. The soundtrack is amazing. The soundtrack is so good.
Very wonderful.
And it kind of hits. I was listening like, oh, this is. Has Boards of Canada done this soundtrack? This is really Boardsy, and they're really like now they use like 80s and 90s, almost like kind of VHS sound idents. They use that a little bit. They've got a lot of that to it, and then title credits roll. It's off the new Boards album, but they didn't do it. Kate Parsons did it.
No, really,
he did it.
Wow,
with somebody else.
Yeah,
but he was heavily involved. So this is a guy at 20 years of age has got an incredible understanding of the art of filmmaking. Very, very deep, technically brilliant understanding of how to make films.
It's phenomenal for his age.
Wow,
especially. Yeah.
I mean, this guy could he wields his oyster.
Absolutely.
So, but to kind of tie it a little bit back to Obsession, then, and maybe kind of leaning into some of the other A24 films. So let's say Under the Silver Lake.
Yeah.
Because it got vibes of that a little bit as well.
It
doesn't spoon feed you. Yeah. There are things that are left hanging open. There's a lot of that to it. So one of the things that I was thinking while we were sat watching is that is this its own like new genre? Are we seeing an opportunity now for filmmaking to go into this as a new thing?
I think so, and I think these kids, these Zoomers, they're getting weird. They're exploring these weird, and I like that because they're growing up in the ruins of Christianity.
Yeah,
they're growing up in
slop culture.
Yeah, it's like, and maybe the Backrooms is a perfect metaphor for that. Just this meaningless maze that feeds on trauma and spawns weird, half-formed things.
They've had to come down a level, to get to it.
And maybe that's
had to break through.
Exactly. And maybe that's a perfect metaphor for the world that the Zoomer has inherited.
Yeah, it's a great shout. Because ultimately, what what sort of mainstream cinema is doing is effectively that sat in the back rooms. That's just endless copies.
That's a great
grotesque point. Copies of itself.
That's a great reboot after reboot.
Yeah.
Another weird half. That's a great
Can't
point.
get out of it.
Yeah.
Can't get out of it.
And we've had what? Maybe like 15 years of just this absolute slog.
Yeah.
That's just gotten worse and worse.
Yeah. I mean, the last 10 years have just been atrocious.
Absolutely.
But it's gone longer than that. Yeah. I mean, you look at stuff even like sort of early 10s, right? It's still poor. There's some real poor stuff coming out.
I think certainly the last 10 years it has intensified. Just the absolute dross coming out.
And again, to kind of tie it back to the back rooms a little bit, like you see bits of like recognizable branding. So it's like bits of brand. It's like, oh, it's a Superman film, right? But it's grotesque. It's rubbish. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's in the wrong place. It doesn't add up. There's no fulfillment out of it. There's no glory to it. There's nothing underneath it.
No.
So to have these new young directors who are coming out of that space and making this genre their own, and I think I know we mentioned it before on the one about obsession that horror is a kind of a good one to use because it's flexible. There are lots of different ways you can make a horror film, and that it's not quite as if you try to make a really weird and obscure comedy film, how would you do that? That's a harder ask, I think, than it is to do a very obscure and sort of groundbreaking horror. You've got a bit more freedom.
Yeah, and the thing is, like a lot of these YouTubers now. So I'm thinking about the Philippou brothers who did a couple of A24 horror films, Cory Bark who did Obsession. They're like coming from doing comedy YouTube, and comedy is kind of, if you think of like Horseshoe Theory, comedy, it doesn't take much for comedy to flip into horror and the same, because essentially when you've got comedy or horror, what you've got is there is something that's out of place,
right?
And it's about what is the reaction to that? Is it a reaction of horror, or is it a reaction of just uncontrollable laughter? Because both is kind of a loss of control. When you're terrified, you've lost control.
Yeah.
When you're laughing at something, you've lost control. It's an involuntary response.
Yeah. Was I talking to you before about saying about like the laughter being a baring of the teeth?
Yeah.
At something that didn't belong in the pack.
Right. Exactly.
You see kind of wolves do it, and they kind of like baring the teeth at something. Like, no, that's the wrong behaviour. It's like it's us laughing at something. It's a rejection, like a weird rejection of something. It doesn't look right. It's odd.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about like comedy at its most basic, you're watching somebody walk down the street and they slip and they fall on their arse, and that wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
They were supposed to walk down the street and get to the destination. But they slipped up and it's like, oh.
Yeah. Glitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an involuntary reaction, because if you think of something like a drama that's got a somber tone, and like to be how much you despair at something is kind of under your control to a degree. You can practice a bit of stoicism.
Yeah.
If something sparks happiness or joy in you, there's a certain amount of control you can have with that. Like, I'm not going to get too excited about this.
Yeah.
But if something's funny, you have to laugh.
Yeah.
If something's like horrifying,
you're scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you'd be shocked. And again, to kind of bring it back a little bit when we're talking about contrasts, the reason why horror and comedy work so well together is that one provides some good relief to the other. And I'll give you an example of where it works really well. And I know we've discussed this before about Cachet, not Gaspar Noé, it was Haneke, Michael Haneke. And that particular film, Juliette Binoche is the actress that's in it. It was in Chocolat. And there are two. The whole film, in terms of pacing, is very, very slow. Typical European-looking film. Static shots. Very it's dialogue, but it's kind of minimal dialogue. A lot of it's carried with sort of facial expression and body movement. But there are two very sort of standout scenes. One of them is a comedy bit, like it's a practical joke that somebody plays. and the other is just the most horrific, horrendous scene. And both of them shockingly break this malaise, if you like, this very slow, sluggish pace. And they're shocking. They're very, very shocking. Both of them, but it's like two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
One of them being a comedy aspect, and the other being like this most horrendous, horrific horror scene, like blood and guts kind of horror, body horror.
So I didn't see that. I did start to watch it, and for whatever reason, I didn't finish it.
It's boring. Like most of it's quite sort of dull.
Yeah.
But it's broken with these two scenes, and he really Haneke really pushes the audience's patience. And you only really get the payoff once you've seen it all, and you've toughed it out through the slow parts.
Yeah.
But those two very short but very shocking scenes give you the full picture of what he's getting at. But that it was a little bit like this in Obsession, where they used comedy. There were bits of it that were funny. When she starts doing the funny girl, a little girl voice, I had to stifle a laugh.
And the moping thing.
It was funny. So being able to play with that and play on that, again, just a symbol of a great, it points to just great direction, really good understanding of filmmaking.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in terms of the the future and what it looks like, I think we've been really spoilt this summer.
Definitely.
It feels like a bit of a breakthrough.
Yeah, it really does. It feels like a change in the zeitgeist or something.
The wind direction.
Bit of a turning point.
Yeah.
So I know that Cory Barker is working on the next picture already. I'm excited for that. Eggers has got the next film out.
Werewolf.
Werewolf. I think it's a New Year's Day release.
Right.
So excited for that as well.
Yeah. So just picking up on Eggers then. So taking out of it sort of his the later canon, but I'm thinking more so like The Witch. There are bits of The Witch that I think were very, very much similar to these two films this summer. A very young and not ever so well known cast.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy before she was ever, when she was still a little bit chubby and she was Anya Taylor-Joy. She can't. Doesn't matter what she does now, she'll never get it. Never do no wrong. She does a reasonably passable northern accent as well, which is impressive. But that again, it's there's a play that happens with The Witch in terms of the pacing. That there's a drudgery to the way that the family, the life that the family lead, and it's punctuated by these horrendous scenes.
Yeah.
And that they riff off each other, so that you need these periods of drudgery to really throw into contrast these really shocking scenes. An amazing ending, right? And another amazing ending, but maybe more so I think with Obsession than perhaps with Backrooms. But I came out of Obsession thinking it's a little bit sort of witch. There's a bit of witch going on here.
There's definitely some occult vibes to it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Obsession seems to have struck more of a chord with universally than Backrooms has, and I think it's to do with the relationship stuff mostly.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense. It's all about the whole stuff with the two sides of the internet, two sides of the manosphere, and then kind of the Normieville and those two things at loggerheads. They really he really captures it all in a short film. And in terms of while we're talking about the pacing as well and the length of the film, it's just under 2 hours.
Yeah, it was 1 hour 51. Yeah,
just brilliantly paced. It doesn't feel short.
No,
it doesn't feel long.
No,
but it ends at the right point. Just they could have gone on a little bit longer. This would have been a Nolan film. I know everybody's talking about Nolan at the moment, but this would have been a Nolan film. It'd have been 3 hours long.
Yeah,
and it'd have bored the arse off you, and it would have told you everything by the end and tied everything up. This is weirdly much more satisfying by tying Clark's bit of the mythos out, but opening up other aspects and other characters to come in and experience the back room.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it, even if we don't get a sequel, even if we don't do any, if it doesn't kind of take off from a filmmaking perspective, I'd love to see some more YouTube shorts on this. I'd love to see what other people are experiencing on this. I love to listen to like lore videos.
Yeah.
You know, I've been listening again. I've been delving back into some alien audio dramas, all sort of based around the first two films, and they're great. You know, again, it's a mythos told from a different perspective. Could we see something like that? Could we see guys, you know, doing audiobooks? Could we see RPGs, like tabletop RPGs based around this kind of stuff? I think like, it could go in any kind of direction. I think it's really interesting, and it's something that's been really sparked out of a real creative boom.
Yeah, definitely.
A mini boom.
And you know, like with the internet, we saw like back in, you know, earlier than Backrooms, we saw Slender Man.
Yeah,
kind of like a monster that the internet created.
Yeah,
and that kind of took a life of its own.
It did.
And then Backrooms has done the same in a more sophisticated way, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see where it's going to go.
Just brilliant film. So it's a good time for filmmaking.
Yeah,
for film lovers. So in terms of going forward, then it's pretty much Backrooms. I also watched a film 2 nights ago called Sputnik, Russian language film that I'd really like to kind of do a bit on. Again, works on different levels. Another horror film, body horror stuff in there, some cosmic horror stuff in there. But again, sort of delves a little bit into personalities and shortcomings and how we handle failure. There's a lot of sort of allegorical stuff based around that. So I'd really like us to maybe take a watch and maybe go through that and do one on that.
So I think in between now and the next cast, we'll do a movie night and watch that. Yeah. And we'll come back and do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you for joining us. It's been great to have you on. We've got Josh. Good to have you, joining us. So yeah, we're going to blitz the rest of this bowl.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm ready for a little top up of Woodford, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for joining.